Mr. Kumar, the developments here happening in the neighborhood are disturbing, least to say. Troubled neighbor and Prime Minister on the run. How does this augur for New Delhi, first of all? And secondly, what are the possibilities of Sheikh Hasina not stopping in India and flying all the way to London?
I think both are possible. See, the thing is that India has been in this kind of position before also, when Bangladesh has been um, in a politically unsettled position. And you know, it's when you have a regime being replaced or being, you know, I won't use the word coup, but when they're being forced to resign, a prime minister has been forced to resign and leave the country. See, there is no plan B. The protesters, when they started the protest, um, they did not start with this assumption that they are going to force the regime to exit. It was the circumstances emerged in such a way that Sheikh Hasina did not have any option but to leave the country and resign. So there was no plan B. And you know, whenever you have a protest happening in such a large scale, the students were concerned about their future when they started the protest against reservation. And later on, this spontaneous protest was taken over and supported by other political groups, the opponents of Sheikh Hasina. Now, what has happened is that there is no plan B. So naturally, the army intervenes. That has happened in past also. When the army intervenes, that means that the situation in the country is not good, and the army will have to, you know, first they will have, the first concern of the army is to assuage the sentiments of the protesters, and
Right.
for that they will have to find a face in Dhaka who can be the head of the caretaker government, and the
Ji.
face, and that face has to be uh, somebody who is clean, who has a popular support, who enjoys bipartisan support. Also, that is very important. What I'm hearing is that the economist and the Nobel laureate Dr. Yunus is probably one of the faces being discussed as the caretaker chief. But Dr. Yunus also has a reputation of being anti-Awami League and anti-Sheikh Hasina, and also he has been anti-dynastic. He has been advocating an anti-dynastic politics. But in the present
Ji.
scenario, what are the options for, say, a new caretaker head? The option for him is to take the support of Jamaat-e-Islami, Jatiya Party, and the BNP, uh, Bangladesh Nationalist Party. They are the opponents of Awami League. So even Dr. Yunus, despite having a good intention, will not be in a position to dictate terms and rule the way he wants, and take the country in a different direction where not only BNP and Awami are in a position to rule the country, but also there is a third alternative. He wants to be a third alternative, but the situation, circumstances in Bangladesh is not such right now, which allows for a third alternative. What I believe is that the protesters, most of the students protesters, they are communist also. They are liberal students, secular students, of course backed by Jamaat Islami and BNP. They would like a government which is which presents a third alternative in Bangladesh, which is
Ji.
not BNP, which is not Awami League, which I think right now is not going to happen. So what is going to happen now? So the caretaker government will take the charge, and try to restore credibility, normalcy in Bangladesh, and for months they will rule. But what,
Right.
suppose a new election happens, then what's going to happen? When the new election happens, will they allow Awami League to participate in the election? That will also be the question. If the whole debate is about democracy, and it's also about that Sheikh Hasina has been crushing democracy, and she was not giving a space to the liberal voices and those democratic voices. So, will the new regime, the new kind of setup, political setup that comes in Dhaka, will they allow a level playing field to all the political parties, despite the grudges and grievances the opponents have against Awami League, ruling Awami League, which has been in power for the last 15 years? So I see this kind of a scenario. For India, the second question that you asked, for India, it's a double-edged sword. If
Right.
India gives shelter to Awami League, to Sheikh Hasina, a very unpopular leader right now, India will be also, you know, uh, taking the anger of the people on the streets in Bangladesh. And India claiming to be a friend of Bangladesh, I don't think India will like to be in a position where it is backing a very unpopular leader who has escaped the
Right.
nation. So this is the
Right, Mr.
situation
Kumar.
I feel. Yeah, so this is what I feel.